Okay, let's jump right into this deep dive. This is where we take source material, articles, research notes, and really drill down to get the absolute key insights for you.
Think of it like a shortcut,
Yeah.
right? Get you informed fast.
Exactly. And today, this deep dive is powered by Growth Suite.
Ah, Growth Suite. Yeah, great tool.
It really is. It's an app designed specifically to help you run smart discount campaigns on your Shopify store. Uses some pretty clever tech, actually.
Mhm.
And you can test it for free on your own store right now, which is pretty cool.
Good deal.
So our mission today is to untangle this, well, frankly, massive problem for online stores, especially if you're on Shopify.
The dreaded checkout drop-off.
You got it. You
Yeah.
get shoppers, they fill their carts, they love the stuff, they hit checkout, and poof, gone.
Vanished. It's that soul-crushing moment, isn't it? Right at the finish line.
Totally. So we're digging into an article today from theshopstrategy.com. It's by Mohammed Tufekci-Pan called Trust Signals in Checkout, Reducing Anxiety and Boosting Conversions.
Good source. He knows his stuff.
Definitely. We're going to use this as our guide, basically, to understand what these trust signals even are, why they're so incredibly important right at that, make or break point of purchase.
That moment of maximum hesitation.
Exactly. And crucially, how you can use them strategically to, well, stop the vanishing act, boost your conversion rates, get that revenue back.
Yeah.
I mean, you felt it yourself, right? Shopping online, that tiny pause that, before you actually click buy.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone has.
We're going to figure out why that happens and how to fix it.
And that pause, you just mentioned, that's exactly the territory this article dives into. And the numbers it cites are, frankly, staggering. We're talking cart abandonment rates around 70% on Shopify stores.
Wait, hang on. 70%.
That's
No.
7 out of 10 people who already decided they wanted something, put it in the cart, started checkout, and just walk away.
That's the average, yeah. It's huge.
That's not just painful, that's like a hemorrhage. It is. And like you said, these aren't just browsers clicking around. They've shown real intent. They've added to cart, hit checkout.
So what's the trigger? Why them?
The article argues the core reason is this sudden spike in anxiety or maybe lack of trust right at that critical moment when they're asked for sensitive info.
Ah, okay. Like the online equivalent of pulling out your wallet and suddenly feeling watched.
Exactly. The perceived risk just skyrockets right there.
What specific fears are we talking about? What's going through their head?
Well, the source points to a few key ones. First, is this payment secure? Like, really secure? Could my card details get nicked?
Makes sense. Big one.
Then there's, is this even a real company? Are they legit? Or will they just take my money and run?
Right, the fly-by-night fear.
And data privacy. What are they going to do with my email, my address? Am I going to get spammed into oblivion?
Yeah, always a worry.
And critically, the post-purchase anxiety. What if it's the wrong size or I just don't like it? Can I actually return it? Will getting a refund be a nightmare?
Okay, so it's this whole cluster of worries hitting them all at once. Security, legitimacy, privacy, returns.
Precisely. It's a potent cocktail of doubt right when you need confidence.
So why do these trust signals work then? What's the psychology?
Well, it's fascinating, really. Online, you lack those physical cues,
Yeah.
right? You can't see the shop, feel the product, look the cashier in the eye.
True, it's all virtual.
So you have to rely on these external cues, these signals, to gauge safety and legitimacy. Your brain looks for shortcuts.
Like social proof.
Exactly. That's a huge one the article mentions. Seeing that other people have bought successfully, left good reviews, it makes you think, okay, they did it, they seem fine, so it's probably safe for me too.
Yeah, I definitely look at reviews before buying almost anything.
Right, but it gets amplified in checkout because now you're handing over payment details, personal info. This is peak information asymmetry, as they call it.
Meaning the seller knows way more than the buyer.
Way more. About security, fulfillment, everything. Trust signals are the bridge. They give the buyer just enough confidence to cross that gap, to hand over their info. Despite the asymmetry, they reduce that feeling of vulnerability.
Gotcha. So they're not just decorations, they're active psychological reassurances. And the article breaks them down, right? Security signals versus credibility signals.
Yeah, it's a useful distinction. Security signals are foundational. They answer that immediate gut check. Is my data safe right now in this transaction?
Like the padlock icon.
Exactly. The SSL certificate, the little padlock, the HTTPS, and the URL. That's table stakes. Shopify handles the underlying tech, which is great.
But it's not enough just to have it.
Bingo. The key, according to the source, is making sure the customer sees it and registers it. Many people don't consciously look for that tiny padlock.
Right.
So you need to be explicit. Use text like secure checkout near buttons. Use clear lock icons. Maybe mention SSL encryption in the footer. Ensure the whole site uses HTTPS, not just the checkout pages.
Make it obvious.
Make it obvious. It provides immediate reassurance right when anxiety might start creeping in.
Okay. What about those payment logos? Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, those are incredibly powerful psychological shortcuts. People already trust Visa, they trust PayPal, they trust Apple Pay, Shop Pay even.
Because they use them every day.
Exactly. So when they see those familiar trusted logos on your checkout, they subconsciously transfer that trust. It's like, well, if PayPal works with them, they must be legit.
Borrowed trust.
Precisely.
Right.
So displaying those logos prominently, maybe near the payment fields, along with specific badges like PCI compliant, if applicable, or even seals from security services, it leverages that pre-existing confidence.
Makes sense. And data privacy, that feels like a growing concern.
Huge. And growing bigger, you need to tackle this head on. The source suggests clear, proactive assurances.
Like what?
Things like stating clearly, we do not store your credit card details, making your privacy policy super easy to find, not buried somewhere. Being transparent about email usage, we'll only email you about your order unless you opt in for more. Maybe mentioning GDPR compliance if that applies to your audience. It shows you respect their data.
Removes a barrier before it even becomes one.
Exactly. Proactive reassurance.
Okay, so that covers the is my info safe
Mhm.
side. What about the other big question? Is this business actually real and gonna deliver? The credibility stuff.
Right. This is about building confidence in your store's reputation and reliability. And customer reviews are still vital here, even in checkout.
But surely you don't want people getting lost reading reviews right when they're about to pay.
No, absolutely not. The article stresses using condensed and relevant social proof at this stage.
Condensed? Like how?
Think like your overall store rating rated 4.85 based on 1,200 plus reviews shown clearly. Or maybe just one or two short, punchy testimonials specifically about a smooth checkout or great customer service.
Targeted proof.
Exactly. And using review apps like Judge.me or Looks that show those little verified buyer badges, that adds another layer of authenticity. Quality over quantity here.
And what about proving you're a real business, not just some random website?
Yeah, business verification elements are key for that. They humanize you. Make your contact info, phone number, email, maybe even a physical address easy to find.
Shows you're reachable.
Right. Link clearly to your About Us page. Mentioning how long you've been in business, serving customers since 2018, that kind of thing builds confidence, especially if you're not a household name. It says, hey, we're real people, we've been around.
Make you seem less anonymous.
Definitely. And then there's getting a nod from outside groups.
Third-party endorsements.
Yeah. These pack a punch because they're independent. Things like a Better Business Bureau accreditation, industry-specific certifications, maybe security seals like McAfee Secure if you use one.
Or those as seen in logos.
Exactly. If you've been featured in recognizable media, mentioning that provides powerful credibility through association. Someone else vetted you. It's borrowed authority.
Okay, so you layer these security signals and these credibility signals, but just plastering them everywhere seems like it would backfire. The article talks about strategic implementation, right? Where and how.
Absolutely critical. Placement is everything. A great trust signal is useless if the customer misses it when they need it most.
So where is best?
The source really emphasizes above-the-fold visibility, especially on mobile where space is tight. Get key security reassurances, maybe payment logos, a concise trust message right there, visible without scrolling.
Sets the stage immediately.
Yes, builds that initial trust foundation. And then, crucially,
Near the Buy Now button.
you got it. Hesitation peaks right at those action points, complete purchase, entering card details. Placing relevant signals, security badges, guarantee reminders, lock icons, payment options right next to those buttons or fields directly counters that last-second anxiety.
Instant reassurance just when they need it.
Exactly. It calms the nerves at the critical moment.
And spreading them out across the different steps, not just dumping them all on one page.
Right, because different steps raise different concerns. On the cart page, maybe they're thinking about shipping costs or returns, so show guarantee info there.
Makes sense?
On the page where they enter contact info, maybe linked to the privacy policy. Shipping page, reiterate delivery speed or tracking. Payment page. That's prime real estate for security badges and payment logos again.
So it's contextual, continuous reassurance throughout the flow.
Precisely. Keep reinforcing trust as they move forward.
Okay, placement is strategic. What about how they look? The visual design.
Oh, that matters a lot. Signals need to be noticeable, but you don't want them to be jarring or distract from the main task, which is checking out.
Tricky balance.
It is. Size and prominence are key. Big enough to see, but not overwhelming. Make sure they scale well on mobile. Sometimes subtle visual cues, like putting them in a slightly different colored box, can help.
Keep the main focus on the checkout fields.
Exactly. Visual hierarchy is crucial. And don't forget, color psychology.
Colors, how does that play into trust?
Well, certain colors have associations. Blue often signals security, stability, trust. Green can imply safety, success, like a go signal.
Interesting.
The article suggests using these thoughtfully, maybe as accent colors for badges or links, but always balancing them with your overall brand colors so it looks cohesive, not like a random mess.
Yeah, I can imagine if you just slapped like 10 different brightly colored badges on there, it might look sketchy instead of trustworthy.
You nailed it. A clean, uncluttered implementation signals professionalism. Too many signals poorly arranged. That actually erodes trust.
Less is more sometimes.
Quality over quantity, definitely. Group related things together, use white space, keep the visual style consistent. A tidy checkout feels professional and secure. A messy one feels amateurish and risky.
Okay, this deep dive is particularly looking through the Shopify lens. How does all this apply specifically within the Shopify platform?
Well, Shopify gives you a really strong starting point. Their core checkout is inherently very secure.
How so?
They're Level 1 PCI DSS compliant, which is the gold standard. They have built-in fraud analysis. And crucially, sensitive card data never actually touches your store's servers. It goes directly to the payment processor.
Ah, so Shopify handles a lot of the heavy lifting on security.
They do. And you can leverage their reputation. The source suggests adding simple messaging like checkout secured by Shopify or mentioning their enterprise-grade security. You're basically borrowing trust from a platform millions already use.
Smart. And Shop Pay, that seems like a built-in trust signal too.
It absolutely is. For customers who used it before, it's familiar, fast, and secure. That little blue check mark adds verification.
One-tap checkout.
Exactly. Plus features like carbon-neutral shipping options. It all builds positive association. So highlighting Shop Pay, maybe saying check out faster and securely with Shop Pay is a good move.
Now, one thing with Shopify, especially on standard plans, is that the actual checkout pages where you enter card details are pretty locked down, right? You can't just stick custom code anywhere for security reasons.
That's a really key point the article addresses. Shopify does that intentionally to maintain security and compliance across the platform. So, the workaround.
What is it?
You maximize the pages before they hit that final lockdown zone. Your product pages, yes, but especially your cart page.
Ah, the last stop before the secure checkout tunnel.
Exactly. Your cart page is prime real estate for adding custom trust elements, review snippets, guarantee reminders, shipping info, security logos, payment options. Load up the trust signals there.
Because you have more control over the cart page template.
Much more control. Now, if you're on Shopify Plus, you get access to Checkout.Liquid and now Checkout extensions, which offer more customization possibilities within the checkout itself.
Right.
But for most stores, the cart page is your main opportunity. And don't forget the order status or thank you page after purchase. Great for reinforcing trust and setting expectations.
Good point. Keep reassuring even after the sale. And the App Store must be full of tools to help add these signals.
Oh yeah, tons. There are dedicated apps specifically for adding trust badges and security seals.
Any tips for choosing?
Look for apps with good reviews, obviously. Check that they're regularly updated. And critically, pay attention to performance. Some apps can slow down your site, and a slow checkout kills trust faster than anything. Look for lightweight ones.
Speed is a trust signal in itself.
Absolutely. Then you have review integration apps. Judge.me looks for photo reviews, Revio, etc. They make it easy to pull in those summary ratings or specific testimonials onto your cart page.
Again, focus on the summary, not the whole feed.
Right. Keep it concise. And for policies, there are apps too.
Like for returns or shipping?
Yeah. Apps like Return Prime or others help you display clear policy summaries like 30-day hassle-free returns right where people need to see them instead of making them click away to read dense legal text. Quick reassurance is the goal.
Gotcha. So we've covered the main signals, placement, visuals, Shopify specifics. Does the source get into any more like advanced strategies, deeper psychology?
It does touch on a few more sophisticated approaches. Personalization is a big one.
How does that build trust?
Familiarity breeds trust. So if your site can recognize a returning customer, maybe pre-fill their shipping info, with permission of course, or simply welcome them back by name.
Welcome back, Sarah. That actually works.
It sounds small, But psychologically, it taps into something called the cocktail party effect. We're wired to notify our name. It makes an impersonal online transaction feel slightly more personal, more recognized. It subtly reduces perceived risk.
Huh. Interesting. What else?
Progress indicators during checkout.
Like the little step 1 of 4 bars.
Exactly. Showing people clearly where they are in the process, what's left, maybe even an estimated time. It gives them a sense of control and predictability. Reduces that, oh, how much longer is this going to take? Anxiety.
Yeah, that feeling is definitely real.
And finally, accessible communication and support right there in checkout.
Like live chat.
Visible live chat is huge, maybe even proactive chat triggers if someone seems stuck on a field. Also, easy access to contextual FAQs, answers to common questions without making them leave the checkout flow.
Keep them moving forward.
And having crystal clear shipping estimates and return policy summaries visible right there, that tackles those what-if anxieties head on before they click buy.
Makes sense. Remove every possible doubt. What about future trends? Where is this heading?
Well, the source briefly mentions emerging tech. Things like biometric verification fingerprint or Face ID for payments could become more common trust signals. Maybe blockchain for supply chain transparency or transaction verification down the line?
Cutting-edge security as a trust signal.
Potentially. And AI-powered fraud detection becoming more sophisticated and maybe even visibly messaged during checkout, also changing consumer expectations. Gen Z, for instance, often values authenticity, user-generated content, maybe seeing reviews from real people over slick logos. Mobile-first design is just assumed. Now signals have to be touch-friendly and clear on small screens.
Right.
And for cross-border selling, localization is key, showing familiar local payment methods, relevant regional certifications, clear currency conversion. You got to adapt your signal.
It's a constantly evolving landscape. Now, this all sounds great, but putting it into practice, you need to know if it's actually working, right? How do you measure the impact?
Oh, absolutely. Measurement is non-negotiable. You need to track your key performance indicators, your KPIs, before and after you make changes.
Like conversion rate.
That's the big one. Overall conversion rate, sure, but also dig deeper. Segmented new versus returning, mobile versus desktop. Look at changes in average order value, too. Did adding trust signals maybe encourage bigger baskets?
And specifically tracking where people drop off in the checkout.
Crucial. Analyze your checkout abandonment metrics by step. If you see a massive drop between the shipping page and the payment page after adding a guarantee badge, maybe that wasn't the right signal, or it needs better placement.
Pinpoint the friction.
Exactly. Look at which pages people exit from, how long they spend on each step before leaving. That gives you clues.
And just asking people, beyond the analytics.
Yes. Qualitative data is gold dust here. Post-purchase surveys. Was there anything that almost stopped you buying today?
Ooh, good question.
Exit intent surveys for people abandoning checkout, what's holding you back, follow-up emails to abandoners. Even just watching a few people try to use your checkout via user testing can reveal issues analytics completely miss.
See through their eyes.
Totally. And then, once you have hypotheses based on data and feedback, you test.
A/B testing.
A/B testing is your best friend for this. You need to systematically test what actually works for your audience, your store. Don't just copy what someone else does.
So test one thing at a time.
Ideally, yes. Test one variable, the placement of a badge, the wording of a guarantee, the color of an icon, maybe even the number of signals. Is there such a thing as trust signal fatigue? Maybe.
Run it long enough.
Yep, needs statistical significance. Usually at least a week or two, enough transactions per variation. Control for external factors like sales or ad campaigns. Use testing tools. Shopify Plus has built-in split testing. Or there's Google Optimize. Optimizely.
And then analyze carefully.
Look beyond just the main conversion number. Segment the results. Implement the winner. Document what you learned. And then pick the next thing to test.
It really sounds like a continuous cycle. Identify the anxiety, apply a potential solution, measure, learn, refine, repeat.
That's exactly it. It's ongoing optimization driven by understanding customer psychology at that super critical moment.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive has been really eye-opening. These trust signals, they seem kind of invisible sometimes, but clearly they're incredibly powerful. Essential, really, for bridging that psychological gap, turning hesitant browsers into confident buyers.
It really boils down to addressing those core anxieties about security and credibility strategically all the way through the checkout. building reassurance step by step.
Yeah, building that confidence. And that whole idea, turning browsers into confident buyers, that's kind of where we started, mentioning Growth Suite.
Right, connecting back.
Yeah, because thinking about all the psychology about nudging someone over the finish line, Growth Suite is actually designed to help right at that critical conversion moment. It uses its AI engine to figure out the right time to offer, a smart, personalized discount or incentive.
To overcome that last bit of hesitation.
Exactly. Doing it in a way that feels integrated and relevant, maintaining that trustworthy appearance we talked about, not just like a random pop-up. It's really built to help transform that checkout experience.
And easy to set up, right?
Yeah, single-click install, apparently, to start boosting conversions. Worth checking out if checkout optimization is on your mind.
Definitely relevant to today's topic.
Totally. So thinking about all this psychology, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other, maybe even more subtle psychological triggers are impacting checkout decisions that this article didn't even get into? Like, what tiny little detail are shoppers noticing, maybe consciously, maybe not, that could be silently building or breaking trust right as they hover over that Pay Now button?
It's a fascinating rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yeah,
Always another layer to explore in online behavior.
absolutely. Definitely something to ponder as you look at your own store's checkout. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive today.
Been great chatting about it.
We really hope these insights help you build a more trustworthy and ultimately a much higher converting store.